Back. Do you feel your metabolism moving faster already? Congratulations, you actually made it through your first week. This week I'm going to go over what foods you need to be eating for healthy weight loss. In this week's module I'll discuss carbohydrates, proteins, fats, fiber, water, and other important nutrients that are essential for permanent success in healthy weight loss. You know, there is power in knowing what to put in your body. Eating the correct number of calories is not the only recipe for successful permanent weight loss. Some diets try to convince you that losing weight is as simple as drinking 3 milkshakes a day that just add up to your calorie goal or less. Some diets have rigid restrictions that make one main food group the bad guys. For example, the most common villain these days would be carbohydrates. In the past, it's been all fats. Other diets may recommend certain foods that have miracle properties or certain combinations that are vital for your body to use them correctly. Guess what? Many of the diets I'm talking about will actually result in you losing weight. But here's the problem. You gain it back. And in addition, many of those diets are not even healthy. Limiting food choices may seem like a viable short-term solution to lose weight, but eventually you'll become frustrated and tired of it. It's not a realistic way to live your life. Some of you may have tried these food restrictive diets. Let me ask you, did they work for you? How long did you stick with it? Did you gain the weight back? Did it leave you feeling fulfilled and happy? I rest my case. I'm going to give you the power to lose weight permanently and live a healthier life from this day on, so pay attention. Now we're going to develop your skills. In the previous module, you learned some techniques to speed up your metabolism. Now you're going to learn how to maximize the value of what you put into your body. You'll begin to develop your skills in portioning your foods correctly in sensible amounts. This allows your body to get a variety of foods with a variety of nutrients. While losing weight and giving your body what it needs, you will be in control, not someone or something else. Now the first question I'm going to answer for you are, what are nutrients? A nutrient is a substance that can be used by the body to promote growth, maintenance, or repair. Most plants and animals are primarily made up of 6 nutrients. Those are water, carbohydrate, protein, fat, vitamins, and minerals. This includes your own body as well as the plants and animals that we eat. 3 of the main nutrients are termed energy nutrients, which means they can be oxidized. Another word for that would be burned, to yield energy. We measure this energy as calories. In scientific terms, you may have heard kilocalories as well. That's the way that we term it in science. However, we're just going to refer to calories as calories when we talk about them in this module. Let's talk about the energy nutrients. There are 3 energy nutrients that are burned for energy, or calories. They are carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Most foods that we eat have some mix of these nutrients. These are also called macronutrients because we need all of them in fairly large quantities. Micronutrients are vitamins, minerals, and cofactors. We need those in smaller quantities, but they're not any less important. If you don't get enough of all of these nutrients, your body will go into starvation mode, which causes your body to lower its metabolism. Your body will then try to hold on to that body fat in anticipation of starvation. You need to consume enough calories in all the energy nutrients for overall health and successful weight loss. Now, are you ready? Lifestyle change moment. The only reason we should eat is to give our body the nutrients it needs. If you simply did this, you would have the key to eating healthy forever. So that first energy nutrient is carbohydrate. Each gram of carbohydrate creates 4 calories of energy. There are 2 types of carbohydrates. The first type are the simple sugars. And that would be things like table sugar, otherwise known as sucrose in scientific words, fructose, which is fruit sugar, and galactose, which is the sugar that you find in milk. These are just some of the examples of the simple sugars. The second type are called the complex carbohydrates. These are multiple sugar molecules bonded together, and that's what makes them more complex, and it takes longer for the body to digest these molecules. In addition, complex carbohydrates are usually found in foods that contain a large amount of fiber, which further slows the digestion. Examples of good-for-you, high complex carbohydrate foods are whole grain breads, whole grain pasta, raw vegetables, raw fruits, and brown rice. These would be examples of those. The whole grain breads, we can actually see the grains in these. You really want to take a look when you're looking at a label to make sure that they're really telling you that they have whole grains in them. This is an example of the brown rice, and then we have the raw vegetables, of course, over here, and we have some raw fruits back here in their nice good form. So you want to make sure that you're taking some of those in. Those are your good carbohydrates. And this is some whole grain cereal too. Again, lots of the whole grains. Now wait, aren't carbohydrates bad for you? Carbohydrates are the body's main energy source and are a necessary part of our diet. They are the simplest nutrient broken down into glucose, and this is the first choice for the fuel for the brain and central nervous system. We are plant eaters, and we depend on these sources for healthy brain function. Carbohydrates themselves are not the bad guys, but there are definitely bad carbohydrates. Okay, so the next question is, how do you make a good carbohydrate choice? Well, think as close to whole food as possible. Say no to white processed bleached flour, white processed bleached sugar, sugar-sweetened cereals, white rice, white potatoes, white crackers, and white refined pasta. Stay away from that white. If the label says enriched, it usually means that it was processed and the good stuff was taken out, so they had to artificially replace it. Go for the whole stuff. They don't have to replace anything. It's already there. Some other good carbohydrate choices would be raw, steamed, frozen vegetables, like these guys over here. Some brown rice like we talked about, winter squash is a good one, corn, whole grain oatmeal or cereal, no sugar. Whole grain breads and pastas, limited whole fruits are good too, maybe about 2 to 3 a day. Look at that label and make sure it says whole wheat or corn or oats as the first ingredient. If the label says made with whole grains and then you look at the back and you don't even see whole wheat flour until the 8th ingredient, that might be a trick to hide the bad stuff. Read on, this just means there are a few oats on the crust sometimes. You got to really take a look at what's in there. Now what about glycemic index? This is a system of ranking carbohydrates by how quickly they are digested and how they affect your insulin levels. Insulin is the hormone that regulates your blood sugar. Technically, knowing where the foods you eat fall on the scale can help you make healthier food choices that will curb your hunger longer. However, there are limitations to this system and it can get confusing. We will cover this more in detail in the future. For now, if you make your food choices from the healthy recommendations we have talked about, you're choosing from the lower glycemic foods. For instance, whole grain instead of refined white flour, vegetables, and high fiber content. Look for it. Okay, so what is the benefit of transitioning to the healthier carbohydrates? Well, they are digested slower. These foods make your blood sugar rise more gently and slower and then decrease slower. This results in your hunger being satisfied longer. The less healthy carbohydrates cause sudden surges in blood sugar that drop quickly as well, which can result in you actually being hungry again faster, sometimes even hungrier than you were before you started eating. That's why a handful of jelly beans and drinking a soda doesn't make a dent in your hunger when you're ravenous. The next energy nutrient is protein. For each gram of protein, we have a calorie value of 4 calories again, just like the carbohydrates. Examples of good-for-you high-protein foods were discussed last time. They include those lean organic meats, legumes, beans, eggs, raw nuts, and seeds. Protein is digested even slower than carbohydrates, and it keeps that blood sugar more steady. It should make up about 25% of your diet, and it should be a part of every meal. And if you have a concern about something that's going into your mouth in regards to high glycemic index, such as a fruit, then you can actually eat protein with that and it'll slow that glycemic index down as far as the blood sugar spikes. Now, why is protein so important? Protein molecules are made up of parts called amino acids. Your body can make some amino acids on its own, but there are 8 that the body can't make on its own. These are essential amino acids. If you eat a variety of protein sources, then you are likely to get these necessary nutrients. Protein is necessary to make hormones, enzymes, bone, muscle, maintaining your blood cells, vessels, maintaining your immune system, fluid balance, and organs, just to name a few things. They're very important. Now, this is what your hair, skin, organs, and muscle tissue are made of, protein. If you don't get enough of it, your body will actually sacrifice its own tissue. If your calorie intake goes too low, your body will use its own muscle mass instead of fat for necessary energy. Remember, more muscle mass actually elevated your metabolism. When you lose that muscle mass and you go back to eating normally, you have more fat and less muscle, and you gain fat easier. So then you're really causing yourself a problem.